No, 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 no. Right now, you're not right now. You're there. I'm here, SubaruSteve here, folks. How are you all today? Listen, trying something new here. Didn't mean to go there. I meant to go here to my YouTube page. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. It's Thursday morning. It is Thursday morning, 8 a.m. live on the SubaruSteve show. And I'm going to try something a little different. I'm calling this speaking politically, right? Because I thought, you know what? Two things we're taught in business never to talk about. And that holds true in my car too when I'm doing my part-time Uber Lyft thing. And that is don't speak on politics or religion, right? Have you been told that before? That when you're at work, don't speak on politics or religion. No, don't do that. And when you go out in public, don't do it there either because somebody will disagree with you, right? What's wrong with disagreeing with each other? As long as we do it humanely, right? Okay, so politically speaking, I'm going to talk about some things politically speaking, and I'm going to try to be impartial. I, for one, before I get into my notes here, I was always taught, being born way back in the ancient days of 1950 and 7 years ago. Yeah, 1957. I am in my 69th year of life. I'll be 69 in November, but like I used to tell Anthony V, it is my 69th year of life. And don't know how many more I got, but each trip around the sun promises to be even more fun, right? So, oh, excuse me, I was going to cough, I thought. Look at that, I was right. Oh, and a bonus cough. But politically speaking, I'm going to try to straddle the line, so to speak. I was always taught, this is where I was going with that earlier, I was always taught that as a young man coming out of high school, learning in high school, that in the United States, now this was back in the 70s, back in the 70s in the United States, we were taught to respect the office of the commander in chief, the president of the United States. Whether we disagree or agree with him or not, no matter whether he was Republican or Democratic, whether he's white, black, green, or yellow, no matter if he's he or she, that we should respect that person holding that office. And there have been times when it's very hard to do with my favorite candidate and perhaps yours, right? Different presidents, different times. But what I wanted to talk about today, as I try to stay impartial, some things that I thought about this morning as I was getting up and thinking, oh, I got to go do my space update, which, no pun intended, I'm getting very little lift on. So I thought, let me go ahead and start speaking politically. I mean, if I start my Sunday through Thursday week out with a Sunday morning social media sermon, by the way, number 136 is coming up this Sunday, January 11th. But if I start my week with a Sunday morning social media sermon spiritually, and then I do motivation on Monday, the shocking truth on Tuesday, get over the week, hump day, Wednesdays, why not end my week on as much as possible a non-biased political platform? And here's why. I want to point some things out to you. Tell me if this isn't interesting or not. Let's shut that down and we will just go on to the next. So how many of y'all remember, I definitely remember, because I don't know if I'll let me bring that picture up anymore. No, it's not. But gas was back at $4.99 a gallon. And that was back in, what do I have written down here? Back in 2022. Now it's half price, $2.49 a gallon. But here's where I'm going with this. So I retired about a year earlier than that, and I watched the gas pricing go up and up and up and up. And I got excited because first I was frustrated. $4, $4.25, $4.50, $4.75. You can play with the numbers all you want. But then I thought, you know what? If gas ever hits $5 a gallon, right? Not $4.99.9, but $5 a gallon. That was my number. If I came out and saw a 5 where that 4 was, I was going full metal jacket retirement. Yep, I was going to turn my car in, my leased car in. That's why I lease them, because they're easy to turn in. I was going to turn my leased car in. I wasn't going to pay car insurance, lease payment, or maintenance, or oil change. I wasn't going to pay any of that stuff. I was just going to retire if gas got to $5 a gallon in my local neighborhood. Well, guess what? 478, 479, 480, 484. I was getting excited. 486. What used to bother me with high pricing was now an exciting thing. $4.92 a gallon. And I was thinking, man, it's coming, $4.97. And then I woke up one morning, I went to get my gas, it was $4.99 a gallon. I don't remember if I went live or not. I was just probably flabbergasted thinking that tomorrow, the next day, I wouldn't be driving anymore. Well, needless to say, $4.99 was the highest it got at my local gas station here in Virginia Beach. And then from then on, it slowly started trickling down. And then this new Republican presidency comes in, and here we are a year into it, and we're half price on gasoline. Am I the only one that remembers this? These high prices from 2-3 years ago? $4.99 a gallon. And in some other parts of the country, it was higher than that. Some of you probably saw $5 and $6 a gallon. But here in Virginia Beach, $4.99. Man, if it hit $5, in fact, if I'm still driving next year and it hits $5, I'm done. Whenever gas ever hits that $5 mark, I can't believe I saw it hit $4.99. Don't know about you, but when I was a young man in the part-time job in the 70s, pumping gas and wiping down your windshield, checking your oil, looking at the air, gas was like 39 cents a gallon. And you could, what do they have? This new corn fuel came out, some kind of corn, ethanol, whatever. You could save a nickel by getting that in your gas tank. Anyways, that's that, right? So that's a couple of years ago, right? But let's talk about something a little more recent, right? So that's 2022. Let's talk about 2023, according to my notes here. The majority of 23 over, well, yeah, over a 3-year period, we had open borders. And like it says there, no, you're not imagining a migrant crime spree. And here's the sad part about that. The sad part, 8 million people, come on, 8 million undocumented people, 8 million. That's like the entire population of New York City. 8 million migrants came into our country illegally. So why do we need ICE running around, doing what they're doing, kicking doors in, not playing games? Because they're out there trying to round up as many of those 8 million as they can find. And guess what? It's going to be easy to find. They're everywhere. They were just allowed to walk in, no disrespect. But, there were good families in here coming in here with their children to seek political asylum. But what was that, 1 out of 20? And the other 9 coming in were men? And out of those, or 1 out of 20, other 19. And out of those, how many of those were coming in for nefarious reasons? Were coming in to do harm to this country, whether they were from Somalia or the Middle East or Venezuela. Well, a lot of them came from Venezuela. I didn't even write that down. I was reading that earlier. But it's crazy. This was just a couple of years ago. Do our borders need to be secure? How can you say no when in 1 year alone, 2023, it's estimated that, where'd it go? I think it was 4.2 million people came in 2023 alone. 4.2 million people just walking into our country because everybody else was, right? The border was overrun. The migrants got in everywhere. Not to mention anybody coming from the north into the United States or off our coast. Now let's talk something else up my alley. And that is this young man. I don't know how many of you have heard of Nick Shirley, but I invite you to look him up. He's in front of a sign right here. It says quality. It's supposed to say Quality Learning Center, right? This is a Somalian daycare. If you've not seen this yet, be careful. This is a deep rabbit hole, but it's worth going down and looking. 23-year-old YouTuber, independent journalist. He's gone all over the country. I've watched his videos over the last couple of years. He's been doing this. I think he and his father's probably his cameraman, but they're in front of a Somalian business for daycare, and it says not learning center, Leering, Learing, Leering Center. And the neat thing that what he's done is he's exposed, what do we have here? Exposing Somalian fraud in Minnesota, reaching into the billions of dollars of our U.S. taxpayer money. 23-year-old, I'm 68, my tax dollars paying for fraud, billions of dollars in fraud. So I want you to research Somalian fraud in Minnesota and look for him. Look for his video. He's got one that runs about an hour where they're going through a huge office building and literally looking down the hall. There's doors on the left, doors on the right, glass doors, right? But they're all covered up from the inside. And on the outside, they all say they're open and they have their hours and they're the Quality Learning Center. Not, there's a Quality Learning Center. But all these daycare centers and adult care centers and what else was there? Humanitarian. Yeah, I got it out. You got it. All these different businesses, annual funds of yearly of 1.8. I'm not sorry, not 1.8. $185 million were put on hold. You hear me? $185 million were put on hold after Nick Shirley gained more than 2.5 million YouTube views for his 43-minute film about taxpayer-funded child care organizations, some of which he visited and said were apparently unoccupied or unwilling to open the door. I mean, places that have no outside playground. They're places that are just like in the worst part of town and there's nothing going on there. And anybody that does come to the door quickly says, no, 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 no. They're just there making sure the lights are on, right? Politically speaking, though, I'm just pointing out the facts as I see them right now. This one was pretty cool. So, how many of y'all know of Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson? He's an amazing smart man. And he recently was asked the question, let me find this here. I think this is it. Do you believe that it's possible to land on the sun? Do you believe we can land on the sun? Is it possible? He gave this a lot of thought. I mean, he was really perplexed. He thinks, he doesn't overthink. He thinks out the logical, scientific answer to questions that many of us could never even fathom, right? So he said, let's see, oh, can I get the quote? Yeah, let's do this.
Land.
No, there we go. Okay. Maybe later.
NASA footage and raw data from satellites hovering above Earth.
No.
And I just can't escape the conclusion that the Earth might actually be flat.
No, he's smarter than that. I wish I could get that clip right there. That's not the one I'm looking for. This might be it. Let's try it. No. Start talk. So what he said was, is it possible to land on the sun, right? He said that, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. And what he said was, it is possible if we try landing at night. But on to a serious note, next month, we have Artemis 2. This is really exciting, at least for me, folks. We have Artemis 2. Can I bring that up a little larger? Artemis 2 is going to be going around the moon. It's going to lead us here. We got green line. It goes around the Earth, and then it takes off and goes all the way down around the moon, right? And then back and lands over here. And it looks like the Gulf of America. So an official landing site, right? But 11-day journey, begin 24-hour checkout of spacesuit. They're going to test out new systems and such, all designed to go to land on the moon and walk around on Artemis. Well, Artemis 3 will be landing there and doing further tests of their suits. And now, let's talk about this. Right here. Don't need that. You know, I tell people when we drive around and we do end up on a political conversation, that's always client-led conversations. But when we talk about them, one thing that I hear the majority of both sides agree on is my view of why we should have, if we have a Republican president, we should have a Democratic vice president, right? Come on, you young people, hear me right now. A Republican president, a Democratic vice president. If it's a Democratic president, let's have a Republican vice president. Let's make that the mandatory two-party ticket for every election, right? It might avoid things like each 4 years having a Republican or Democrat coming in and just trying to completely undo what their predecessor tried to do, right? And I got to go to the facts right now, things that are sticking in my mind right now. Um, is a what? The heck did I write now? That Trump is a herring? No. He reading the White House. I don't know what I was reading here, but he's adding his name to national monuments. The Kennedy Center, now it's the Donald J. Trump John F. K. Center, right? I don't really understand why any president would want to do that. I mean, I'm so grateful that our borders are closed and we're cracking down on uh, immigrations, illegal immigrations. We're getting some of these 8 million people out. I hope if we can even get 800,000 of them out, what a success, right? And it's sad. They come in, they have children, they did all this stuff, but you know what? They did it illegally. So I do stand behind our commander in chief, regardless of whether he's a Republican or Democrat. Once that person is in office, the entire country should support what they're doing. The time to argue and disagree about it, well, not argue or disagree, but to speak up, is around the elections, not during the 4 years that the president's trying his best to run the country. I mean, I got to give him props. Gas, $2.49 a gallon, not $4.99. 8 million people that came in over a 3-year period, 4-year period, I believe it was. Now it might be, instead of 8 million, might be 800 in a year, right? I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, right? But I know that we have to fix our country. And I know, being at 68 years old, I can't fix it. And I encourage those of you who are in your 40s and 50s, chill, chill. Let's get our younger people into politics, into understanding that the future is theirs, right? We need the youth of this country to protect this country, to do the right, fair thing. This country was built on "In God We Trust." Do we allow other people into our country? Yes, we should. But we should have a government that says, no, you cannot play a call to prayer in an American city out loud on a speaker before, at any time out loud in a city. You know what we hear out loud in our cities? Air raid sirens when we need to. Not a call to prayer. Boy, that would make me deaf from hearing air raid sirens if they ever went off. We need to unite. We need people in the office, in all of our government offices, I'm speaking politically, right? That, number one, have age limits and term limits in place. This is where you younger people have to get, I don't want to say weaponized. I don't know the right word, but you need to speak up and start saying, hey, wait a minute. Our average age of our president right now, the United States, the average age, because of the last two, Donald Trump and Biden, right? Because those two guys, the average age of the president of the United States is now 55. When's the last time you saw a 55-year-old Navy SEAL rappelling down out of a helicopter, or snorkeling underwater for 2 miles, or conducting strenuous 2-day sniper nesting? They don't. They retire them out. They become consultants. Here's what I say as I wrap this up. If you, as an American, well, number one, if you're an American citizen and you don't believe in God, as we do, as our country was founded on, then you cannot put your hand on this Bible and swear that you're going to do everything to protect its people of the country, especially if you're believing in some other religion that doesn't protect every single person, doesn't care about every single person. Do I care about you? I don't even know you, and I care about you, right? I don't want to see you hurt, whoever you are. I want to see you looking good, like some of you do right now. But if you can't put your hand on a holy Bible and swear to the God that we swear to, Well, we shouldn't swear to God. You get what I'm saying. Then you can't hold an office. Can you believe what you want? Sure, sure. But you cannot hold an office in the government of the United States when the government of the United States was founded on basic principles, right? And if your religion doesn't go along with every single one of those principles, then you cannot hold office, period. And if you don't like it and you're from another country, okay, go back to your country. I'm tired of hearing people, celebrities, politicians. I'm tired of hearing all these people say, well, I'm leaving the United States. Oh, I don't agree with this. I'm moving to Canada. I'm going to Switzerland. I'm going to Timbuktu. Then go. We don't want to hear it no more. Just go. Go over there and do a podcast. You'll make more money. People will watch your podcast in the United States. Not me. I could certainly care less right now because I'm more concerned on this. Sebastian Rogers, $500,000 reward for information leading to his location and the arrest and conviction of those responsible for whatever is happening to him. More on that on my Tuesdays. I am today going to spend a little bit of time. Yesterday, I just created the picture, right? But I'm going to start working on my very first app. Don't know if I'll ever get it done, but I'm going to make the attempt, right? Just a little bit each day, a step forward. Keep it going, folks. Go out there, step forward, do the right thing, do a good thing, look for people that are missing, help those who need it without being asked to, right? Is that such a bad place to live? I don't think so. High five and out. I hope to see you all Sunday. See if I can slide that up. Sunday for, oh, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Sunday morning social media sermon number 136, topic to be determined. Don't forget, catch me Sundays through Thursdays at 8 a.m. live. High five and out. I am SubaruSteve in the beautiful resort city of Virginia Beach, Virginia. High five, too slow.